Thank God this is finally over. Giants country, let's ride. What is going on, guys? What's going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video. If you can't tell, I just woke up from a nap. I did a lot of errands today. I have a pulled hamstring. My body is in pain. So my initial plan tonight was to rest up, drink a Red Bull, and start video planning for other ideas I had for the channel. But I have a video to do instead. The New York Giants on a quiet Tuesday night has just signed Russell Wilson to a deal. It's very interesting. I don't know if it's any correlation, but it is very interesting that both these deals were signed at night. It is 8 o'clock now. I think it was around 7 o'clock when Russell Wilson was said to be signed, and that Jameis Winston was signed like the Friday before, around the same time. So I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just woke up, so here I am just yapping. But the Giants have signed Russell Wilson for a max contract of about $21 million. I think it's a one-year deal. Let me double check. All right, so as I'm seeing it right now, it's a 1 year, $10.5 million guaranteed. I assume that's like his base salary, and it's fully guaranteed, and it says up to $21 million. So obviously with added incentives, he could make up to $21 million, which would be, I believe, like the 20th. I think it said, somebody said the 20th highest paid contract for a quarterback this season. So I told you guys from get-go, if we were to get Russell Wilson, we would get him for about $25 million. Now, that wasn't with guaranteed money. That's kind of the range I thought he would make, and it's around that. But it's even better if I mean, I don't know if it's better or not, right? We want to win games. Obviously, the incentives are probably winning, touchdowns, low interceptions, things like that. So the Giants only have it for like $10 million on a 1 year deal. Jameis Winston is on a 2 year deal. So where do the Giants go from here? Before we get into that, I guess we could talk a little bit about Russell Wilson. I mean, sure, he's not exactly who he once was with the Seattle Seahawks. He had a really bad run with the Denver Broncos, and I actually think he had an underrated tenure with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think a lot of people just have a bad taste in their mouth from what they saw with the Denver Broncos. I just think it was a terrible fit. He was the odd one out, the entire time there. It was clear Sean Payton wasn't very fond of him as well. So I don't think he kind of gelled over there. I think with the Pittsburgh Steelers, it was a lot better. I know there is a lot of controversy on how he is, possibly as a teammate, as a locker room guy. Listen, everything I've heard about Russell Wilson when he was at Seattle were all great things. Everything that I've heard. Like, as far as, like, younger talent, kind of looking up to him being sort of a stand-up guy and a mentor, I've heard that. I've heard the opposite as well. I don't really know what to make of it. We'll definitely be able to get a real glimpse on what that's going to be with the New York Giants. Obviously, we're going to have behind the scenes, they're going to do, a Giant life probably with him. We'll see a bunch of locker room interviews and highlights from practices during the summer. So, we'll be able to get a good glimpse of that. And now we're in a quarterback room with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. All three are memes. Mr. Let's Ride. And then Crab Legs Jameis Winston, although he's memeable and plenty other things, I thank the Lord. Please deliver me from these interceptions. And we've got Tommy Cutlets. I mean, it's insane. I told you guys when the Giants signed Jameis Winston, the 2025 New York Giants are going to be a fun team. We're going to have fun this season. We're actually going to get some entertainment. Now, as far as it amounting to wins, I don't necessarily think it would be that. But listen, a quarterback room with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, listen, in all seriousness, no memes. In all seriousness, I think we could be an 8-9 win team. We just need competency at the quarterback position and a guy with a little bit of legs with it. You know, not crab legs, actual legs. You know, that can move around. I think legitimately this team could be 8-9 win team. I honestly think that. I think if the offensive line stays healthy, it could be that as well. So I'm happy. And I'm also happy we let go of Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers necessarily officially signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It seems like that is going to be the choice that is going to be made. But I'm so happy the Giants were like, all right, we're gonna let go. We don't want to hold out any longer. We've already had a deal with Russell Wilson. There was news out right when Russell Wilson was having the interview with the Steelers, and that was 2 weeks ago, that there was already a deal in place with the Giants for Russell Wilson, and they were just waiting on what Aaron Rodgers was going to do. The fact that we are even waiting for a 41-year-old washed-up quarterback is beyond me. I know he threw for almost 4,000 yards, but still, the dude wasn't taking the team to any wins. We've got Russell Wilson, we've got Jameis Winston, we've got Tommy DeVito. What now? Now, a lot of people across Twitter seem to think that the Giants are out on quarterback this season. I don't necessarily think that is the case. I think that does shut a lot of doors, though. I definitely don't think the Giants are going to go in the second round and get Jackson Dart. It may make sense to some of you where it's like, all right, you're getting a guy that you can groom up, and you don't need to throw into a starting role right away. You've got Russell Wilson, and if he goes down, you got Jameis Winston, and then you've got your young rookie that you're grooming up, like a Jackson Dart or somebody, right? But it still doesn't make any sense because you got to believe that this guy's a franchise dude. If you're going to go out there and get Russell Wilson and you want to win games, that second round pick can go in other directions so you can do that, win games. Jackson Dart's not going to contribute to anything of you winning games this season. If the Giants are getting Russell Wilson and Jameis, they're trying to win games this season. So getting a second round pick like Jackson Dart, you might as well just wait until Russell Wilson's contract is over, Jameis Winston, or you resign Russell Wilson for next year. Jameis Winston will be here next year as well, and go get another guy. Wait till you see a far better quarterback class, and if you have to trade up, then you trade up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if quarterback in round 2 is really a thing. It's really going to be a thing. You may see them get one in the 4th or 5th round. I believe we have multiple 4th round picks. I believe. I could be wrong about that. And I think we do have 2 5th round picks. So you can get a quarterback there if you want to try to, make a better quarterback room and see if you got a guy late there where those picks really don't matter too much. But what about the first round? What about getting a quarterback in the first round? I think the Giants are pretty much out of it unless Cam Ward is there. Now, as far as them trading up to the number 1 overall pick, that's still in the air for me. We already know that the Giants have interest in trading to the number 1 overall pick, and this seems to be their plan from the get-go, to get Russell Wilson, to get a competent backup like Jameis Winston. I don't think this will deter them from trying to get Cam Ward. I do think they are out on Shedeur Sanders, though. I don't see the Giants at 3 going to get Shedeur Sanders if he's there, because there are talks with the Browns that they'll take Shedeur. I think they're willing to wait out another year for getting a top quarterback prospect in another draft than have to force a pick for Shedeur Sanders. And that is exactly what I wanted the Giants to do. I don't hate Shedeur. You guys know I've made plenty of videos on Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. I don't hate Shedeur. The more I watch Shedeur, however, the more I don't think he is worthy of the 3rd overall pick. I don't care what you guys say. Your propagandists out there that are in my comments on Twitter. If you like Shedeur Sanders, then you like Shedeur Sanders. I don't hate you for it. I'm not going to judge you for it. But it seems like if I say that Shedeur Sanders is not worth a 3rd overall pick to me, everybody just comes at me. You endured Daniel Jones for 6 years. Dude, I didn't want Daniel Jones here in the first place. Okay? I didn't want him here in the first place. I gave him a chance, and he let me down, and I want him out of there afterwards. That doesn't mean I need to overcorrect and take another guy who's not worth the 3rd overall pick. I don't, it's not computing for me. If you think he's worth that, then that's fine. I don't think the Giants think that he's worth the 3rd overall pick, and that's fine too. If Shedeur Sanders were to drop in the 2nd round, I would really ponder and say, hey, I know we got these 2 quarterbacks, but 2nd round pick? I mean, let's do it. Let's do it. And just because I would get him with the 2nd round pick doesn't mean I would get him with the 3rd overall pick. Because I think Travis Hunter and or Abdul Carter are way better of prospects than Shedeur Sanders, that I would hate for the Giants to be forced into a corner to put in a pick because they need a quarterback at number 3 overall over a guy like Abdul Carter, whose tape fascinates me, right? We've seen top tier passers before. I think Abdul Carter could be special. Generational, we don't know, but special for sure. Travis Hunter, probably the most generational prospect in this draft class, cornerback and wide receiver. You know, we have answers at corner now, and we have some wide receiver depth, but he's just a fantastic player that you probably got to put on your team. I want the Giants to be forced to make that decision, not be forced into a corner to ignore those 2 and take a quarterback for the sake of taking a quarterback. Because if they don't believe that he's worth the 3rd overall pick, then I don't want them taking him. I only want them taking him if they believe he's a 3rd overall pick. And with my thoughts out of the window, I've said this before, and a lot of people are confused about why I said what I said. But I don't, like, if the Giants back in 2019 really thought that Daniel Jones was worth the 6th overall pick, then you take him. Regardless of what I think, you take him. That's why I was on board with Daniel Jones. It took me a couple months, and I think it took me to that Buccaneers game for me really to, or maybe it was the preseason games as well, to kind of give myself a little hope. I don't know. But if the Giants were to get Shedeur Sanders with the 3rd overall pick, even though I don't believe he's worth that, I'm going to say if they believe that he was worth the 3rd overall pick, then do it. Because if you believe that, that means you have the certain parts in place where you can get him to where he needs to be, right? That you believe he can do it, so not only would his effort be into it, but your effort would be as well. If you force a pick and they already don't like him that much as a prospect, they're not going to do everything that they can to make sure he's a franchise quarterback. They're going to draft him out of spite. You understand? That's like taking in a kid because you have to, not because you love your kid, you know? So that's just my thoughts on it. I'm sorry I'm rambling. This should be about Russell Wilson, but we already know the type of player that Russell Wilson is, you know? So this is all about what is going to be happening afterward. So I don't think the Giants are in on Shedeur Sanders. I think if Cam Ward were to somehow drop, or they were able to get to number 1 overall pick, I think they would do that because we have already seen their intentions for Cam Ward. We've already seen them have interest in trading to the number 1 overall pick. So that just leads me to believe that if he was there, or if they had the opportunity to trade up and they were actually able to execute that he would be the pick that he would be their quarterback for the future, so, and I wouldn't mind that. I love Cam Ward. I am a huge Cam Ward guy. I think the ceiling is through the roof. And like I said, if you love your quarterback, if you love the guy you're drafting, you're going to do everything you can to make sure he succeeds. And I think Cam Ward is that type of guy, and I think he could reach a ceiling here in New York. So, that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I know I was rambling a lot. But Russell Wilson is now a New York Giant along with Jameis Winston. So this is going to be a fun ride. This is going to be a fun one for sure. So that being said, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Giants country, let's ride.